Hello, reading friends. Welcome back to Raising Readers, where I share practical literacy tips for parents, teachers, grandparents, and caregivers. I'm Sean George, founder of Our Children Read, a former classroom teacher and the author of more than 70 children's books. Today, I have a question for you. How do you raise a reader before your child can even read? The answer is simple. You start today. Now, your baby doesn't have to know their ABCs. Your toddler doesn't have to recognize words, and your preschooler doesn't have to be able to read a sentence, because learning to read starts later. Learning to love books can start from birth. And I didn't just believe this as an educator, I practiced it in my own family. When my daughter Sanaa was little, I read to her. And years later, when I became a grandfather, I did the same thing with my grandchildren. I read to them when they were babies, I read to them when they were toddlers, and I continued reading with them as preschoolers. Now, they couldn't always understand every word I was reading, and when they were babies, they certainly couldn't read the words themselves. But that wasn't the point. The point was that books were already becoming part of their world. They were hearing stories, they were looking at pictures, they were spending time with grandpa, and they were learning. Long before they could explain it, books are something we enjoy together. That's what I want parents and grandparents to understand. Reading with a young child isn't supposed to look like school. You don't need a lesson plan. You don't need flashcards. And you definitely don't need to give your 2-year-old a test when the book is over. Just read together. Let your baby hear your voice while you read. Point to the pictures. Look, there's a dog. Ask your toddler, where's the dog? Let them point to it. Let them turn the pages, even if they accidentally turn 3 pages at once. Use funny voices. Make the animal sounds. Let them laugh. Make reading something they look forward to doing with you. And parents, if your child brings you the same book for the 25th time, read it again. I know what you're thinking. Not this book again. But your child may be thinking, I know this story. And that repetition is actually helping them. They're becoming familiar with words, sounds, pictures, patterns, and the way stories work. Eventually, they may even pick up that book and start reading the story back to you from memory. Let them, and please don't say you're not really reading. Celebrate it. Listen to them. Ask them what happens next. Because at this age, we're building something much bigger than their ability to recognize words. We're building their relationship with books. Think about it. If books mean time with mommy, daddy, grandma, grandpa, or someone else they love. If books mean laughter, funny voices, cuddling up together, and having fun, then that child is developing a positive relationship with books before they ever read their first sentence. And that brings me to this week's Raising Readers Challenge. If you have a baby, toddler, or preschooler, read one book together tonight. But here's the challenge. Don't teach, don't test, don't correct. Just enjoy the story together. And if they bring that same book back to you and say, again, read it again. Because remember, learning to read starts later. Learning to love books can start from birth. I'm Sean George with Our Children Read, and this has been Raising Readers, practical literacy tips that work. And remember, when we raise readers, we raise leaders. I'll see you in the next episode.